This is Sarah Heredia, and you are listening to the Freely You podcast. Our time together is meant to inspire you to think bigger and empower you to live your life in a way that makes you proud to be you. I believe that the only box you should fit in is the one that you build for yourself, and I'm here to help you lay the foundation. My journey has taught me that we all deserve to create our own definition of success while meeting ourselves with love and a playful curiosity. My goal is to provide practical tools and fresh perspectives so you can rewrite your story, start living your life on purpose, and ultimately become more freely you. Well, hello there, and welcome back, you guys. We are taking a quick little break from the booze series because in case that series hasn't interested you at all, I want to make sure that I am still serving you and still giving you some support that's going to help you hopefully move through your days and your weeks a little bit easier. So this conversation, this is a practice that I have been doing lately that has been super helpful that I want to share with you. And I honestly think that this one could be beneficial for anybody, and it's super easy to do. So I want to talk to you about energetic loopholes, okay, or energetic leaks, if you will. So we talk a lot about energy on this podcast, and the truth is, you and I, we only have so much energy to give in a day, right? And so when we're not being intentional or when we're not being purposeful with our time, a lot of times what we're doing is we're wasting our precious energy. And one way that I find that a lot of us do this is we have these energetic loopholes or these things that are taking up precious space in our mind and therefore taking up our precious energy as well. So when I think about these energetic loopholes, it's like the tiny things, right? Like the text that you've left unread because you know that you need to respond to it and you don't want to forget. The email that you've left unread because you know you need to respond to it and you don't want to forget. The person that you haven't followed up with, maybe the trip to the post office that you haven't taken, these really, really tiny things that maybe aren't like your biggest priority, and maybe they aren't the thing that needs your attention right now. But regardless, if it's taking up space in that beautiful brain of yours, it is stealing your energy. And these little tiny loopholes that seem so small, right? Like the text that's unread, like no big deal. It probably, once we decide to do it, it's going to take 1 minute to respond to that text, but we just haven't made it our priority yet. So it's looking at all of those little tiny things that add up. And when we're feeling overwhelmed or when we're feeling like we just have so much to do or we haven't made a dent in our to-do list, a lot of times it's these things that are so tiny they don't even make the to-do list, but they're adding to our overwhelm, they're adding to our stress, they're adding to our anxiety because they are taking up space in our mind. And it's like when we're sitting at the stoplight that it pops into our head like, oh yeah, I still need to order that, whatever's in my Amazon cart. Like I never press checkout. It's like the simplest things like that. So what I am encouraging you to do, simple little practice. I have actually started a notes tab on my phone and I titled it Energetic Loopholes. And basically anytime that one of those things comes into my mind that it's like, oh, I know I need to do this, I just haven't gotten around to it yet, I just write it down in my phone. And what this is doing in the moment is it's taking it out of my brain and putting it somewhere that I can later look at it and be productive. And I know that it's all in one place. And I am committing to taking the time to close those loopholes. So this can be a conversation that you've been meaning to have with somebody. This can be maybe, repotting the plant that you walk by every day and you see it like slowly dying. It can be cleaning out your garage, cleaning out your car, just those little things that you're like, oh, I should do that. The shirt that you need to wash on delicate and that just sits there because you haven't done a delicate load. You hadn't made time for that. So rather than letting these things sit in your brain and consume your precious, precious energy, just write it down on a list. I like the phone thing because it's pretty much always accessible, right? We generally have our phones near us most of the time. So when these random thoughts pop in my head, that's when I am just jotting it down on my phone really quick. And then here's the key. Here's the very, very important piece of this puzzle is that you actually have to schedule the time to close these loopholes. And you guys, I'm telling you, like this, because it usually is like the tiniest things, right? It's like these little teeny tiny things that we let slip through the cracks or that we put off that still take up space in our head. It's like we can bust these things out so quickly. So keep a running list and then schedule yourself a time, maybe an hour max, to just go close these loopholes. And I swear to you, you are going to feel so much lighter. You're going to feel like you have so much more energy because it's not taking up your mental space, and because it's not just one more thing that you haven't done. Action is the key to relieving overwhelm, to relieving our stress, to relieving our anxiety. But when we don't even know what it is that we have out there, because a lot of times, like, I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking about, like, what do I need to do? Why am I feeling so stressed? It's not because I need to wash my delicate shirt on a delicate cycle all by itself. That's not what's coming through when I'm trying to identify why I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. But those little things just add up. I think about like our energy, like if you had a balloon and this balloon is like filled to capacity, when we have these energetic loops that are just spinning, right? Because there's no end to them. We haven't closed them up. They're just going round and round and round. It's like that air is just slowly leaking out of the balloon. And a lot of times we don't notice it until the balloon is so deflated, till we're feeling so burnt out, overwhelmed, etc., etc. And then it takes us a lot longer to fill it back up, to replenish it, to give ourselves that energy back. So this is literally the simplest, easiest practice that you can put into place. So when you're driving and you're like, oh shit, I never did that. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I still haven't told that person yet. Oh, my kid's picture form is due. I got to sign up for soccer. I mean, all of those little tiny things. Just put it in your notes tab in your phone, schedule the time to make it happen, and you are just going to fill that balloon, your energy just expanding, and you having so much space for the things that actually matter. Because it is usually these little things that we put off, but then we're trying to enjoy a movie with our loved one, and that's what's running in the back of our mind. We're having coffee with a friend and it pops up like, oh, I didn't finish that. Oh yeah, I never did that. I need to get to that. So just write it down and then take care of it, and you're going to feel a million times better. I'm going to keep this episode short, sweet, and to the point, because that's what this practice is. It's meant to be super, super simple, and it's meant to be super, super impactful. So try this out. Watch how much better you feel when you don't have a million little tiny things that are unresolved floating around in your head, and when they're all in one safe place in a list on your phone. And then when you actually take the time to do it, you're going to feel so good. So stop the energetic leaks, close those loopholes, and watch how much more energy you have throughout your days. As always, thank you for being here. I have been blown away by the power of connection and community recently, and this is a community that I do not take lightly. I freaking love you guys who tune in every week. It makes my heart literally want to explode. So thank you for being here. For those of you that are just finding me, you can always find other ways you can get into my community through the show notes. If this episode or if my podcast has been resonating with you, can you do me a huge favor and leave me a 5-star review? This is so helpful. It helps me get my podcast in the ears of more listeners when I am doing well in the algorithm, and your review helps with that. Thank you, and we will talk so very soon.